This is a short video on the mistakes to avoid in debt settlement and bankruptcy. Regardless of which tool that you use to get debt free, you want to make sure that you have no regrets. And I think the only way to do that is you just look at all your options, see where you're going to be 3 to 5 years down the road, and pick the option that's best for you. Another thing is that we're going to go over some mistakes to avoid. If you've already made one of these mistakes, it's not the end of the world. We can usually work around that. In regard to debt settlement, the first mistake you want to avoid is avoid somebody that encourages you to stop paying your credit card bills. It doesn't work too well when the person that's providing the service tells you to stop paying your credit cards. I think it's better if the client tells me, hey, look, I can't do it anymore. I'm current right now, but I can't do it anymore. That's a different situation than the person who's handling the debt settlement says, hey, stop paying your credit cards. Because let's face it, there's some problems that go along with not paying your credit card bills. The next thing you got to be concerned about is you want to avoid somebody that ignores the risk of a lawsuit. I've seen somewhere out there that there's a risk, an 8% chance that you may get sued. I think that's probably a pretty good number, but some of these debt settlement companies ignore that. Also, they certainly don't have a strategy in place for handling that risk. You know, I don't like the gunshot approach to handling all these creditors the same way. I like going through there and seeing which creditors you have, and if I see one that is prone to filing a lawsuit, I recommend that we treat that one differently. Maybe not enroll that particular debt into the debt settlement program just yet. Maybe let's wait on that one there till we've handled all the others. Another thing too is that if there is a circumstance where you do get sued, who's going to advise you what to do? You go with a debt settlement company, they're prohibited under the law from giving you any legal advice. You go to a debt settlement attorney, well, we can advise you through that process. Another mistake to avoid in debt settlement is avoiding people that give unrealistic examples. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I think a realistic example is where you might settle a debt for, say, 55 cents on the dollar, but after you add in the settlement fee of, say, 10% and maybe some IRS taxes of, say, 15%, you may have an overall savings of say, 35% on the outstanding balance. That's a more realistic estimate than somebody saying, oh, we can save you 70 cents on the dollar. Well, after you figure everything, that's probably not realistic. In regard to bankruptcy, there's a few more mistakes to avoid. One, you want to make sure that bankruptcy is a last resort. The flip side of that coin is the only thing worse than filing bankruptcy is clearing out your retirement or getting a home equity loan to pay some of your bills, then still having to file bankruptcy to handle the rest of your bills. So take a real close look at all your options. Make sure bankruptcy is the last resort, but don't dig your hole deeper before you actually use that tool. The other thing, you don't want to be transferring assets right before you file bankruptcy. Hey, let me put this in my son's name or a family member's name. The object here is keep it and protect it. Okay? The next thing is you don't want to be running up credit cards right before you file. Anything you do shortly before filing bankruptcy is looked at very carefully. So just leave things the way they are and then come on in and we'll look at all your options. Another thing, you want to avoid repaying family members a year before you file a bankruptcy case. This usually happens around tax refund time. People get their tax refund and they pay back mom and dad or a friend or whatever. You want to, the trustee is going to be looking for that, and so we're screening for it. So don't repay family right before you file. One workaround for that is sometimes we may just delay the filing of the bankruptcy case to make sure 366 days go by since you repaid that family member. Another thing is don't leave anything out. You want to have all cards on the table face up. Leave it for your attorney to determine what's important. I've had a client where they didn't tell me about $15,000 that they had in a bank account with their name, and I said, how come you didn't tell me about that? And they go, well, I didn't think it was important. It's not my money, it was just in my name. It was my sister's money. And I said, well, if it's in your name, in the bank account with your name on it, it's yours and it's important. And so you want to have all cards on the table face up. Let your attorney make the judgment call, not you. And the other thing is that you want to get a free consultation. Take a look at all your options. My number is 930-7000. We can schedule a time to meet across my desk or across the phone. The only thing that you have to determine is which is better. Getting information as to solutions to solve your debt problem, or do I want to dig my hole deeper and then get solutions to my debt problems? So whichever way is best for you. I think getting help where there's free consultation and no obligation is probably the best route to go. And do it before you dig your hole deeper. I hope that helps. Give me a call, 930-7000.